Hi, this is my CAS second interview video, and first off, I'm going to talk about my CAS Challenge Week experience. So for my CAS Challenge Week, I went to Phang Nga, Thailand for 8 days, and we stayed in an orphanage, like next to an orphanage. And so for the first learning outcome, identify own strengths and develop areas for growth. So the strength I've identified is the ability to take care of the orphans and take care of others on the trip. And an area for development is that I'm very physically unprepared for the trip, and I'm always constantly exhausted. Even after the first day, although we didn't really do anything, we just toured around the place, I was very exhausted, and due to exhaustion, for the second and third day I got a bit sick too. So this is something that I can improve on. And for my second learner outcome, demonstrate that challenge have been undertaken, developing new skills in the process. So before my CAS trip, I have always been only communicating with my close friends or people I know. I will not break out of my own bubble to talk with other people, out of my comfort zone. But during the CAS trip, I've learned to step off my comfort zone and to talk with other people and to communicate with kids and other teachers in the orphanage. I've learned to better communicate with other people. So, and for my third learner outcome, demonstrate how to initiate and plan a class experience. We have did this by planning activities for the kids and planning games for the kids, and it was a success since the kids had a lot of fun. Yep. And for my fourth learner outcome, show commitment and perseverance in CAS experiences. For me, I never backed away from any challenge, and I had always during my CAS trip, I have communicated with the kids, which I'm uncomfortable with, talking to strangers, and which I have didn't back away from this challenge of communication. And also, I'm afraid of heights, and during one of our activities we had to slide down this really steep water slide, and it flings you about 3 to 4 meters in the air. And since I'm scared of height, this would be quite a challenge for me, but I didn't back down from the challenge. Instead, I also stepped out of my comfort zone, and even though it was scary, I undertook the challenge and completed it, which shows my commitment and perseverance in this CAS experience. So for my fifth learn outcome, demonstrate the skills and recognize the benefit of working collaboratively. We planned, me and other members on the CAS trips, we planned activities together, for example games and other things, and we also collaborated on making posters for the CAS trip. And for teaching the kids, we also split it into small groups to teach the kids, and I believe that I have learned the benefits of working collaborative throughout these experiences with working with my other trip mates. So for my sixth learning outcome, demonstrate engagement with issues of global significance. And for this learning outcome, I have learned to preserve the environment during my time in the jungle camp which we stayed in, and we have learned more about the forest, and we have learned more about the the nature and how we're supposed to preserve it throughout the jungle camp. Secondly, I'm going to talk about my ongoing CAS experience of being the club leader of Fun Experiment Club. So for my first learner outcome, identify our own strengths and develop areas for growth. I've identified my strength to communicate with other club members, and I am able to better understand them and thereby able to better control the atmosphere of the class. And for develop areas for growth, I have found out that my teaching, like when I'm trying to do my presentation, it might be very boring to the kids, and I can try to make it more interesting. And for the second learner outcome, demonstrate that challenge have been undertaken, developing new skills in the process. So one of the challenge that I've undertaken is to teach the kids the science behind the experiments we do, and I am developing my skills of teaching during the process. And for my third learner outcome, demonstrate how to initiate and plan a class experience. So for my experiments, I have to plan my experiments myself, and I have to find out the logic behind my experiments and teach it to the kids. And so this is this demonstrates how I have been initiating and planning these classes for the kids. Yeah. So for my fourth learner outcome, show commitment to and perseverance in the CAS experiences. So I've committed, I didn't back down in this CAS experience, and I have, even though like teaching may be hard for me, I've been persevering through the CAS experience, and I didn't quit, and I've been keep on trying to improve myself and improve how I teach. So this shows my commitment and perseverance in this CAS experience. And for the fifth learner outcome, demonstrate the skill and recognize the benefits of working collaboratively. So for one of my experiments, where I did an experiment about detox and about how detox products are actually a scam. So for that experience, I had collaborated with one of my other club leaders, and we ran a section like as a pair instead of hosting it by myself. And I've learned to collaborate as I would take care of like the first half of the experiment, and she would take care of the second half of the experiment. And by like co-hosting an experiment, I have learned to collaborate with other people, and and the benefits of like working collaboratively is it doesn't take as much of a toll on you, and I didn't need to work as hard and be as stressed out. So for my third ongoing CAS experience is the activity of hiking. So for my first learner outcome, like identify own strength and develop areas for growth, I've identified my physically incapability of like hiking, and I found out that I'm always exhausted after the hike or during the hike, and I'm not fit to hike. And although I'm able to successfully complete my first hike, any like if the hike is more physically challenging, I'll be unable to complete it. So for my second learner outcome, I'm developing the skill of hiking, and for my third learner outcome, although I haven't like demonstrate how to initiate and plan a CAS experience, although I haven't like executed a hike that I've planned yet, but I'm planning for future hikes, and I have to like find the like a suitable hike for me or for like the group of people I'm hiking with. Yeah. And for my fourth learner outcome, show commitment and perseverance in CAS experience. So for my first hike, at one point like it was really high, and since I'm afraid of heights, like it was actually very like challenging and scary for me. Even though it was very scary, I was able to commit and persevere through my hike, and it shows the commitment and perseverance, my commitment and perseverance in this CAS experience.